If that gave you chills, I already know one thing. You're a fan of Band of Brothers. Let's uncover the true stories of the men behind Easy Company. What did they go through? What did you miss in the series? And what happened after the war? In this episode, Lewis Nixon, Donald Malarkey, and Carwood Lipton. Stay tuned. This is the story behind the legends. Lewis Nixon wasn't a frontline fighter in the traditional sense, but he was one of the most important men in Easy Company. In the series, Ron Livingston portrayed him with dry humor and a calm resolve. Born into privilege in 1918 in New York City, Nixon came from a wealthy industrial family. He went to Yale, spoke fluent Japanese, and had every opportunity to stay far from combat. But instead, he chose to join one of the most dangerous units the US Army had to offer, the paratroopers. He volunteered for the 506th and quickly became their intelligence officer, the man who tracked enemy positions, movements, and intentions before anyone else. That role put him at the nerve center of Easy Company. It wasn't just reading maps or decoding reports. He was helping Winters anticipate the next move, often under extreme pressure and with little sleep. And on D-Day, he proved just how far he was willing to go for the men beside him. At Brecourt Manor, when Winters needed armor to finish the job, Nixon didn't just radio in a request. He went himself, crossing enemy-held territory under fire all the way back to Utah Beach. There, he managed to secure 2 of the first Sherman tanks to land, providing valuable assistance during one of the early and tactically important moments of the invasion. Throughout the campaign, Nixon remained Winters' closest confidant, not just in command, but as a friend. But while he helped others stay sharp and focused, he quietly began to unravel himself. The constant tension, the trauma, the endless responsibility, it caught up with him. And like so many men in his position, he turned to alcohol as a way to keep going. Not for celebration, but for silence. And yet, when the call came again, he didn't hesitate. In March 1945, during Operation Varsity, the largest airborne assault in history, Nixon was selected to jump with the 17th Airborne as a jump master. His plane was hit by flak before they even reached the drop zone. Only 4 men made it out alive. Nixon was one of them. That jump made him one of just 2 men in the entire 506th to earn 3 combat stars on his jump wings: Normandy, Market Garden, and the Rhine. After the war, Nixon didn't chase medals, interviews, or public attention. He went back to New Jersey and worked in the family's chemical business, the Nixon Nitration Works. He stayed close with Winters for the rest of their lives, but rarely spoke about what he'd seen or done. Even Ron Livingston seemed to feel the weight of portraying him. During filming in England, he kept a private video diary of the cast's boot camp training, and in it, you can see how seriously they took the Bond they were recreating. Long before the cameras rolled, those actors were already becoming brothers. It's a must-watch. Lewis Nixon passed away in Los Angeles on January 11th, 1995. He was 76. Donald Malarkey was the kind of man who didn't need to raise his voice to be heard. Played by Scott Grimes in Band of Brothers, he came across as loyal, steady, and understated. And that's exactly who he was in real life. He grew up in Astoria, Oregon, a coastal town, simple and small. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, Malarkey didn't hesitate. He volunteered for the paratroopers and was selected for Easy Company. He jumped into Normandy on D-Day, fought in Carentan, Operation Market Garden, the freezing woods of Bastogne, and the Eagle's Nest. If Easy Company was there, Malarkey was too. There's a famous scene in Band of Brothers where he talks to a German POW.
Where are you from, son?
And Malarkey realizes that he grew up in the same state. That moment really happened. In his memoir, he wrote, "I'd only been at war a few hours, but already I was learning stuff I hadn't been taught in training. Namely, that the guy trying to kill you and that you're trying to kill could be someone who once worked in an American defense plant across the street from where you later worked. Strange thing, war." Malarkey wasn't the loudest voice in the company, but he had one of the biggest hearts. He was never one to complain. Even when injured, he stayed quiet. This isn't shown in the series, but in Carentan, a mortar fragment tore into his right hand. Doc Rowe told him it qualified for a Purple Heart, but Malarkey waved it off. "I'm fine," he said. He lost friends in every direction. Some died just inches away from him. That kind of loss leaves a mark, one he carried long after the war. As he mentions in an interview,
your friends go down, to really take care of them as you might, and especially if you're in an attack, moving or whatever. And I withstood it well, but I had a lot of trouble in later life because those events would come back, and you never forget them.
Back home, he tried to rebuild a normal life. He married, starting work at Lovell Motors in Astoria, and remained deeply connected to his community. In 1954, he even ran for county commissioner of Calstop County, and won. Later, he moved to Portland, built a life in insurance and real estate, and raised a family. Malarkey also detailed his experiences in a 2008 autobiography written with Bob Welch called Easy Company Soldier. Donald Malarkey passed away on September 30th, 2017, in Salem, Oregon. He was 96 years old. Carwood Lipton was the calm in the chaos. Donnie Wahlberg portrayed him with quiet strength and composure, and every part of that performance was earned. Lipton was born in West Virginia in 1920, raised in a working-class family that valued grit over glory. He was one of the Toccoa originals of Easy Company. Lipton jumped into Normandy and was able to rendezvous with Winters and several other men from the 101st, and 2 more from the 82nd Airborne Division. They were later joined by several more Easy Company members and worked their way just south of their objective of Carentan. At the Brecourt Manor assault, he climbed into a tree to get a better view over the German positions. He was met with a rain of bullets that tore through the branches around him. This tree is even marked on Google Maps as a historical landmark. After that, he risked his life to bring TNT to destroy the German artillery pieces, only to find out they already had some when he arrived there. Lipton was wounded in Carentan when shrapnel hit him in the face and groin, and he was awarded the Purple Heart for this.
You're okay, Lipton. Everything's right where it should be. Come on. Up.
When the war pushed Easy Company to its limits in the brutal winter conditions of Bastogne, Lipton proved what real leadership looked like. They were surrounded, freezing, and under constant fire. Officers were wounded, morale was collapsing, but Lipton, still a sergeant, stepped up. Each morning, he walked the lines and checked on every man, listening to their concerns and kept their heads up. He didn't just keep his men alive, he kept them going. The scene with the Dutch shell really happened. Only not with George Luz, but with Sergeant Bob Mann, the company HQ radio man. That was Lipton's first cigarette, and he picked up the habit from there. He was ashamed of that, but I have to admit, if you're staring at a shell that should have taken your life, you can really understand the need to hold on to something, anything, that makes you feel alive. He later received a battlefield commission and became a second lieutenant, not because he asked for it, but because he had earned the respect of every man under his command. Lipton was also there at the end, in Berchtesgaden, standing in Hitler's former mountain stronghold. And in a surreal moment, he found himself sharing a meal with a man who helped design the tanks that haunted Allied troops across Europe, Ferdinand Porsche. Porsche, now a POW, spoke fluent English. The 2 former enemies ate at the same table and talked about the war. That's a great bar story, isn't it? After the war, Carwood Lipton earned an engineering degree from Marshall University and joined Owens, Illinois, a major glass and plastics company. He quickly rose through the ranks, becoming chief operator by 1952. His career took him from New Jersey to London, where he oversaw 8 plants in the UK, and later Ohio as Director of International Development. He retired in 1983 and settled in Southern Pines, North Carolina. In one of the last scenes of the series, Lipton quotes a famous poem from Shakespeare's Henry V.
He said, "From this day to the ending of the world, we in it shall be remembered. We lucky few, we band of brothers. For he who today sheds his blood with me shall be my brother."
Carwood Lipton passed away on December 16th, 2001. He was 81 years old. Which Easy Company member would you like to see in the next video? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more of Battlestations.